Shalom, this is a new Yeshurim Israel at Hebrew on the Island 2. Today's video is Tammuz, Gilgamesh, Dumuzid, Jesus are all one and the same. Tear down those altars, Israelite. Dumuzid, later known by the alternate form Tammuz, is an ancient Mesopotamian god associated with shepherds. Israelite, does being a shepherd ring a bell anywhere? Who was also the primary consort of the goddess Inanna, later known as Ishtar. Okay, so when you read about Tammuz in the New Testament, we don't here at the Island Hebrew, we're just Torah and Tanakh based. But you know, you read the New Testament like when you have to reference something, but you don't. That's not scripture at all. I'm going to read a little bit out of it to show you what they say. So, you guys, I hope and pray that you get the memo. This Tammuz, the Queen of Heaven, and all that stuff is a pagan deity that the Israelites followed when they sought to follow after the other nations. They took upon their gods, just like King Solomon. You know, he had all those wives, and I love my four-parent King Solomon. But, you know, he took on all those wives, and, you know, he made temples and shrines unto their gods. And that was one of the major problems, one of the biggest problems of the Hebrew Israelite. You know, homosexuality is a very big problem. But there's a big problem over that. And it's having another God before you. That means you didn't even get out of the first commandment out of the 10 commandments. And you know there's 613. You didn't even get out of the first commandment. Because you're following after heathen, Gentiles. He said, do not desire nothing of the oppressor. Do not envy the oppressor and his ways. And that's what Israel has always done. Not all of Israel, but the majority of Israel has done. And guess what? Since he charges us as a nation group, not just individually, you know, the people that are not doing it are going to get swept up with these dumb Israelites. These demon Israelites. Following after other gods. You better tear down the altar. You can keep thinking about your sweet Jesus' He's my Savior. No, the Most High said He's your own. There's no other Savior beside Him. He says He's your Savior. He's your Redeemer. He's the only Creator. He has the only one, He's been the only one that has created all things. He's created all flesh. He's the only one that created heaven and earth. And what you demon Christian Negroes and Messianic Hebrews, you have allotted the attributes of the Most High. You gave it to a false deity. And you're saying you didn't, and you haven't. And your rejection of what I'm going to present to you is going to be your eternal demise. I'm telling you, you guys are doomed. You better turn around. You better tear down those altars. And I'm going to show you some pictures. Tammuz Dumuzid is a Mesopotamian god, and check it out. Read that. Read the subscription, the little writing underneath this photo. It says, the dying and rising god Dumuzid. It's spelled Dumuzid there, but it's also spelled Dumuzid. Who died and rose? Your sweet Jesus. There's other depictions of Dumuzid. Right there, Dumuzid. The image, result, symbol of Dumuzid. Here's Tammuz, which is Dumuzid, and Jesus. Dumuzid. Dumuzid. Dumuzid and his lover, which is his mother, and his wife. Everything opposed to the scripture. Dumuzid. Dumuzid. There's more. Hold on. Let me show you a little more. And then I'm going to get into it. In Anna Dumuzid photo, that's the Queen of Heaven. That's also in the Bible, telling the Israelites making cakes to the Queen of Heaven. Dumuzid the shepherd. Dumuzid the shepherd. Who is Jesus? Oh, he's the good shepherd. Oh, you guys, I'm telling you. Dumuzid. Dumuzid is Tammuz. Tammuz is Jesus, your sweet Jesus. Okay. Let me blow this picture up and let's get. There we go. There's your Dumuzid and there's your Inanna, which is the Queen of Heaven, Ishtar. You guys, I'm telling you, you're going to get destroyed if you don't change your ways. And this is not something that I will consider it. The Most High is not going to consider you when he destroys you because you didn't tear down the altars. Let's go to the fake New Testament, John chapter 10, verse 6 to 11. The only reason why I'm bringing it up, because I'm bringing out their account of this Jesus. And it's really not a fake account, because the heathens, the Roman Pisu family, the aristocrats, them and their cohorts made and wrote the New Testament, the Apocrypha, and those other books. They wrote them. So the stories in it is about their gods. Their Dumuzid was the shepherd God, the God that died and rose. And when you trace back, Dumuzid is his earlier name is Dumuzid, then it's later changed after some time passed to Tammuz, and then later to Jesus. But you guys won't research, so you're stuck on like stupid. But your stupid is going to get you destroyed because you didn't tear down the altars. All right. John chapter 10, I'm going to tell you, this parable speaks about Jesus, but they understood not what things were spoken to them. Jesus is telling them, the fake Jesus, who is Tammuz and Dumuzid, in your John chapter 10, this is what it says in John chapter 10, verses 6 and verse 11. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth life for his sheep. Where does it say? He's a shepherd God. Hold on. Hold on. Bear with me. Right here. Okay. Look. Dumuzid. The shepherd. Telling you. Jesus, your sweet Jesus, is Dumuzid. And he's Tammuz. He just changed the names after time. You guys are going to get destroyed. You don't change your demonic ways, following after the gods of the nations. So in John 10, verse 6 and 11, he says, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth life for his sheep. In Sumerian mythology, Dumuzid's sister was Gishtiana, the goddess of vegetation. In the Samaritan king list, Dumuzid is listed as an antediluvian king of the city of Bat Tabir, and also an early king of Uruk. In the Samaritan poem, Inanna prefers the farmer. Dumuzid competes. This is the tale, the myth of Dumuzid, who is Tammuz, who is Jesus, who you know in the New Testament. Dumuzid competes against the farmer Enkidu for Inanna's hand in marriage. In Inanna's descent into the underworld, Dumuzid fails to mourn her death, and when she returns from the underworld, she allows the Gela demons to drag Dumuzid down to the underworld as her replacement. And Anna, the lover of Dumuzid, later regrets this decision and decrees that Dumuzid will spend half the year in the underworld, but the other half of the year with her, while her sister Gishiana stays in the underworld in his place, thus resulting in the cycle of the seasons. So Ishtar, which is Inanna, the queen of heaven, she dies and goes to the underworld. Dumuzid regrets that he didn't mourn her enough. Inanna somehow is able to get him dragged into the underworld by the demons, the Gela demons. I'm just telling you what they're saying. I don't believe in none of this shit. But for the heathens, it's their life. For the Israelites, it's garbage, demonic shit. So anyway, the Gela demons pull Dumuzid into the underworld, so that then allows Inanna to be released. Then she regrets her decision, her decree on having her lover or her husband or whatever being stationed in the underworld. So what she does is she puts her sister down there for half of the year, and then the other half of the year she allows her husband, lover Dumuzid, which is Tammuz, which is Jesus, to come back up, the shepherd king, to come back up and live with her for 6 months while she never goes down there. That's just like a woman. Women are survivalists. They only really thinking about themselves. You even find it in the myths. But I digress. Okay, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 8. Ezekiel chapter 8 verses 12, 13, and 14. Ezekiel chapter 8 verses 12, 13, and 14. This is what it reads. This is how it reads. Then said he unto me, Son of man, hast thou seen what the ancients of the house of Israel do in the dark? Every man in the chamber of his imaginary. For they say, the Most High seeth us not. The Most High hath forsaken the earth. Verse 13 of Ezekiel chapter 8. He said also unto me, Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations that they do. Verse 14 of Isaiah chapter 8. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of the Most High's house, which was toward the north, and behold, there sat women weeping for Tammuz. I tell you who Tammuz is. It's a Mesopotamian god, fake god of heathens. Verse 15. He was the shepherd king god who died and rose from the underworld to be with his lover Inanna. You don't know these things because you don't study. And the gods' names just change after time. Dumuzid first, Tammuz second, and now you have Jesus, sweet Jesus, third. Could have been some more names too in the front, but I'm giving you the information that I have. All right, verse 15 of Ezekiel 8. I know I said I'm going 12, 13, 14, but I'm going to go down to verse 16. Verse 15 of Ezekiel chapter 8. Then said he unto me, Hast thou seen this, O son of man? Turn thee yet again, and thou shalt see greater abominations than these. Verse 16, and he brought me into the inner court of the Most High's house, and behold, at the door of the temple of H.O.I, between the porch and altar, were about 25 men, with their backs towards the temple of the Most High, and their faces toward the east, and they worshiped the sun towards the east. When you read the whole Ezekiel 8, it's saying that these men in a circle are worshiping the sun. They're idol worshiping. What is the first commandment? Thou shalt have no other Elohim before. They can't even get out of the first 4 commandments. They're just like heathen. Our foreparents, not all of them, but a lot of them. This is why we're in the situation and condition we're in. We have a no people ruling over us, a sulfur-based people ruling over us, a no people ruling over us, a people less than the dust of the balance ruling over us, a people less than a drop from a bucket ruling over us. Because our foreparents and our people today want to still worship the gods of the other nations, have other gods than the only Elohim, which his name is H.O.I, which violates the first commandment. And he says he's going to destroy you for that. And he has destroyed us by putting the no people over us and terrorizing us to no end, back then and still today. And also those men were doing, because back then, if you research the history, they had temple prostitutes, men and women. And they probably were doing homosexual acts in there, doing those acts, worshiping. They were doing the abominable things in the temple, following after the heathen, because that's the customs of the heathens. The white man is a homosexual. He's a beta male. He thinks he's a beta male. That's why he likes women, his women with flat booties, no booties. That's why he thinks she's sexy and not the curvaceous black woman, because she has hips and booty, and his white woman body resembles a 12-year-old boy. They love that because they're beta men. And the Israelites are copying that. Look at today, transgenderism. Go to the ATL in Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. Speaking so many black homosexuals, it's crazy. It's crazy. Following after the nations, envying the oppressor and his ways and his things. You better tear down your altars. Most High is going to destroy you. And we're in the last seasons of this earth. You better get right. You don't tear. The only thing you can do is tear down those altars in your life. And if you don't, you are doomed. Christian Negro and Messianic Hebrew who thinks that you're not a Christian. You breaking the first commandment. Jesus is Tammuz and Tammuz is Dumuzid. The most abominable thing Israel was involved in was idolatry, worshiping other gods. That's breaking the first commandment. Come with me to Judges chapter 2, verses 11 and 12. Judges chapter 2, verses 11 and 12. And the children of Israel did evil in the sight of the Most High and served Balaam. Balaam is a god. Read it. That's the most abominable thing, going after other Elohims. Fake Elohims at that. Verse 12 of Judges chapter 2. And they forsook the Most High H.O.I, Elohim of their fathers, which brought them out of Egypt, and followed other gods, of the gods of the people that were round about them, and bowed themselves unto them, and provoked the Most High to anger. That's what you Negroes, I was going to say you niggas, are doing today. You better break down those altars. Verse 13 of Judges chapter 2. And they forsook the Most High and served Baal and Ashtaroth. All those Istar, Ashtaroth, all those things are demon, Mesopotamian, small gods of the nations. Verse 14 of Judges chapter 2. And the anger of the Most High was hot against Israel. And the anger of the Most High is still hot, probably even more hot, against current Israel today. Because you guys have totally assimilated into this heathen culture. And you get mad at us for me and all my other Hebrew Israelite brothers saying that the white man, the apex heathen, is the devil that the Bible speaks of. And all his customs is his Christmas, New Year's, Halloween, Valentine's Day, Mother's Day, Easter, and all that. When we talk against that, and to come back to your heritage, which is the laws of the Most High, which is not a religion, is a custom that the Israelites have done, which is the Negro, which is the Aboriginal, which is the copper-colored people, which are the Native Americans. in the whole northern hemisphere, from North Pole to South Pole, including Brazil, Peru, etc., etc. The western part of this flat earth is the old world. Over there in China and in Europe is the new world. They lied about everything. You have assimilated totally. And you get mad because we're telling you to separate. And that's what the prophets did. When you read Ezekiel chapter 9, the only elect type of people are the ones that are crying and sighing about the abominations in the midst of Israel. There's nothing new under the sun. Our foreparents did it back then, following after the other gods. Inanna, which is Ishtar, which is the queen of heaven. And here's your sweet Jesus. Dimzid, Tammuz, and your now current sweet Jesus. You can keep saying, no, it's not. You haven't did research. And guess what? It's on you. It says in Ezekiel that, at the end, they all had to save themselves. Noah, Ezekiel, Job. You're going to have to save yourself. I'm presenting information to you that the Most High has opened my eyes to. You want to reject it? That's your demise. Hebrews, this is the same condition our bad foreparents were in. So guess what? We today have the same situation. These demon sulfur Caucasians have been ruling over us for a long time. And we're not able to stand against them. The prophecy is fulfilled. He said he's going to destroy us. He said we will no longer in Judges 2 be able to stand before our enemies. Is that the case today? Why can't we get out from under the foot of these sulfur Caucasian Neanderthal demons? Right? How are they ruling over us? They ain't physically stronger than us. They're not talented. The first car was not made by Ford. The first car was made by black Negro people. We are the people. We're the salt of the earth. The pyramids, the castles, the sewer systems. All this stuff is really made by the Negro, which is the Israelite. When are you going to break down the Jesus altar, the Quran Muhammad altar, the New Age altar, the Masonic, the Mason, the Freemason altar, the worldly altars, the Buddha altars, the Asian pagan deity altars? Stop following the no people who have always been reputed as less than nothing. Look what you find in Isaiah about the star. Okay? The light. The morning star. I was always confused when I was a Christian. And many of us Hebrews were also confused and tricked into being Christians and Messianic Hebrews. I was like, why is Lucifer the bright and morning star? And why is sweet Jesus got the same type of title? When are you going to get the memo? They are one in the same. New Testament is a demonic book. Jesus is a demonic character in it, posing as the Son of the Most High. When Exodus 4 says to Moses to tell Pharaoh that my son is Israel, and even they are my firstborn. It says nowhere in the law, and that's the only way you can prove anything from within the law. He doesn't have any begotten son. His special son, his favorite son, is Israel. And I'm going to show you that too. Isaiah 14:12. Isaiah 14:12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation? And when you keep reading it, it says, and what man has shaken the earth? Now let's see what Mr. John in the New Testament has to say about this star and who is this star. So we got in the Nevi'im, in the prophets, in Isaiah 14, tells you that Lucifer is the son of the morning. Okay? In John, in the fake New Testament, Mr. John says in John 9:5, as long as I am in the world, this is Your sweet Jesus talking, JC. As long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. Okay? Now let's go to Revelations chapter 22, verse 16. Revelations 22, 16. I, Jesus, I, sweet Jesus, have set mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and offspring of David and the bright and morning star. Hebrews, do you see the correlation? Your sweet Jesus is Lucifer or Tammuz. He's your Dumuzid. He's your shepherd king. He's your morning star. They're all one and the same. When will you get the memo? When will you break down your altars? Come with me to Numbers chapter 25, verse 3. Numbers 25, verse 3. And Israel joined himself unto Baal Peor, and the anger of the Most High was kindled against Israel. Verse 5 of Numbers 25 in the law. And Moses said unto the judges of Israel, slay ye every one his men that were joined unto Baal Peor. I'm telling you, there's a punishment. Break down your altars. You're going to be destroyed. Come with me to Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 3. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 3. Your eyes have seen what the Most High did because of Baal Peor. For all the men that followed Baal Peor, the Most High, thy Elohim, have destroyed them from among you. That was Deuteronomy 4, 3. Baal Peor is Mesopotamian demon deities. They're the Tammuzes, the Dumzids. That's what it is. Negro Christians, Messianic Hebrews. The Most High said, as he has done in the past, destroyed the Israelites for doing this. From the Israelites that weren't doing it. And there were many more doing it, worshiping the gods of the heathen, following after the heathen, envying the heathen, taking on their gods and their customs. He said in Deuteronomy 4, he said, Elohim have destroyed them from among you. You, Negro Christians, you, Messianic Hebrews, are going to get destroyed from amongst the body of the Israelites that are striving to keep the commandments of the Most High. Not having other gods. The first commandment, do not have another God before you. Keep saying, you pray in sweet Jesus' name. You swear by his name. Most High says, swear by nothing. The Most High is the only Savior, only Redeemer, only Creator. But you attribute those things to another deity. You can keep thinking in your distorted mind, Kool-Aid drinking mind, that Jesus is just the begotten Son, and the Lord tells you the begotten Son of the Most High are the Israelite men who are keeping his law. Exodus 34:13. Exodus 34:13. But ye shall destroy their altars, break their images, and cut down their groves. You better cut them down. You better get them out of your life. Deuteronomy 7 verses 4 and 5. Deuteronomy chapter 7 verse 4 and 5. For they will turn away thy son from following me, that they may serve other Elohims, other gods. So will the anger of the Most High be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. You will be destroyed, Israelite. You can keep thinking, oh, he's going to understand. He knows my heart. No, you're not. You break the first commandment. You haven't even got out of the first 4 commandments. Not keeping Sabbath correct. Not swearing by other people's name. Having images. You guys are doomed, basically. And I pray that you get out of it. Verse 5 of Deuteronomy chapter 7. But thus shall ye deal with them. Ye shall destroy their altars and break down their images and cut down their groves and burn their graven images. You better get rid of those crosses, those fish, and so forth and so on. I'm telling you guys are doomed. His anger is kindled against you. And because things are going maybe good in your life, you got a good job, good house, car, and all that stuff, you got some money, you think the Most High is blessing you. No, Dumuzid, Tammuz is blessing you, the demon, to keep you in that devil mind frame, to keep the Most High anger kindled against you. Deuteronomy chapter 12 verse 3. Deuteronomy chapter 12 verse 3. And ye shall overthrow their altars and break their pillars and burn their groves with fire, and ye shall hew down the graven images of their gods and destroy the name of them out of that place. No. And that name is Sweet Jesus, a.k.a. Tammuz, a.k.a. Dumuzid, the Good Shepherd, King, and Morning Star. Exodus chapter 23, verses 32 and 33. Exodus chapter 23, verses 32 and 33. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. That's what you're doing today, Israelite. You're taking on the gods of the nations, breaking the first commandment. Verse 33 of Exodus 23. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against me. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto you. Serving Sweet Jesus is making you sin. Being a Mason, Freemason, is making you sin and making you kindle the anger of the Most High against you. A Buddha, a New Age, or whatever God that's outside of the only Elohim, which is, his name is H.O.I, you're going to kindle his anger against you. He's going to destroy you suddenly. As it says in Deuteronomy 7, let me read it again, verse 4. For they will turn away thy sons from following me, that they may serve other gods. So will the anger of the Most High be kindled against you and destroy thee suddenly. He's going to destroy you guys. Hebrews, what are their gods? Sweet Jesus, Muhammad, Quran, Buddha, all the rest of these paganistic heathen deities. This is why I've told you countless times to separate from the heathens in every way possible in your specific life situation. Don't give me that, oh, I work with it. You can still separate to degrees, all type of degrees. Don't go to sporting events, don't go to their parties, don't eat lunch with them, don't associate with them. Do what you have to do to get your paycheck, live, and that's it. He said he will destroy you from among the brethren. Jesus is Tammuz, and the Queen of Heaven is his wife and mother. I'm telling you, guys are going to be destroyed. Jeremiah 7:18, and I'm going to bring it to a close. Jeremiah 7:18. The children gather wood, and the fathers kindled the fire, and the women kneaded their dough to make cakes to the Queen of Heaven, and to pour out drink offerings unto other gods, that they may provoke me to anger. I'm telling you, the Queen of Heaven is Inanna, the wife and mother of Dumuzid, Tammuz, and your sweet Jesus. Christian, Negro, and Messianic Hebrew, stop provoking the Most High to anger. He said he will destroy you. There will be no salvation for you if you don't tear down those altars in your life. Jesus is a myth, a fake story from the New Testament, created by the sulfuric Caucasian heathens. This is, I hope you change. I hope you tear down the altars. As Noah, Ezekiel, and Job had to do, they had to save themselves. So the Most High is giving you time to save yourself, Negro Christian and Messianic Hebrew, who's a Christian as well. I hope you change. This is a new Yesharim Israel at Hebrew on the Island too. Until next time, Shalom. And what I'm doing is I am, as Ezekiel 9 says, I am crying and sighing about the abominations in the midst of Israel, and your abomination is your worship of sweet Jesus.